Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and today we're working on a new project. Well, I've been working on it, and I just thought I'd show a really cheap way of building underpinning on a building. You can't put solid underpinning on it because then it would trap water. Water has to be able to run off of it because of their location of building this building. And it's getting a rough treatment. The first thing that was wrong with this building to start with is, why do they always put the pitch lower at the hill, the bank side, and not the front? Because water's going to run down off of that roof and right down there, and it's going to tear everything up, which it's already doing. So the foundation's not all that great, and yes, it does need some work, and if I have any breath left in me, I'll probably address that too, but I'm not going to do it for free. Yeah, if up in my building, I'd already have it fixed, but right now I'm noticing I'm having problems with my chickens going in underneath there, and they're digging big holes. Well, they're digging them right next to the foundation blocks, and these foundation blocks ain't the greatest in the world. That one's leaning. This one here, I don't know what they tried to do here. Let's look. I see what they were doing, but they could have used a bigger beam. It wouldn't have hurt to have used a bigger beam. So basically what this thing needs is a 2x6 on this side and a 2x6 on this side. Run them together beside each other and bolt them all together and make one big beam, 6x6. And run it back here. But you see it's got dirt all around the bottom of the other side. And it's laying in dirt, and it's buried in dirt, and I guarantee you it's rotted. So it's not got the best blocking system in it, but to begin with, so I don't want to introduce any more reasons that this building could fall. So to keep them chickens from going in there and digging holes, I decided to do it this way. And here's what this is. These boards here, all the way at the frame, was free. The sticks, I went over behind the shop over there on the other side of that hill is where my shop is, and cut some thin, about that big around, I'd say about 1.5 inch round straight. They're kind of straight, but it kind of gives it a unique look when you got it staggered like that and bent, and just gives it a rustic look. Once it's painted the same color as the building, that'll look real good. I don't know, staining them might work too. But I just got finished doing this panel. You can see all my stuff out here. I had to cut a notch out there. I don't know why they transitioned that building lower than the other one. I don't know what they were doing here. They should have started that building another 2 inches higher. So this one's actually deeper from the roof to the floor. But anyway, the reason them boards, those 2x4s, those decking boards like this one right here, free. A buddy of mine owns a gas station down here, and I go by his house every time I turn around when I'm going to the grocery store or to Exxon or something to get something to drink. I'd see a big dump truck sitting in his yard, and he was taking a deck down, and it was full of all this wood. I mean, clear to the top. And I asked him, I said, "What are you doing with that wood?" He said, "I'm taking it to the dump." "Oh no, I just opened a new dump. Come on, bring it over here." So he said, "All right." So he brought me a load, and then a month later he brought me another load. And it's all stacked back here. I stacked it with slats in between it. I need to get them covered. But then once I've got all these panels done, this is a little wobbly right now. See, I can move it. So what I want to do is take this board here and mount it right there just like that. Cut it to somewhere. I might use a 2x4 or another piece of this on the back side and only come up about this far and have that 2x4, because see, this is offset right here. So if I put this flat to this, it's going to be pointing out like that because it can't get past this block. Somebody, either this building moved or that block moved or something, but anyway, this is offset. So I have to put something here to bring it out far enough to go straight down the blocks. So what I'll do is just make probably take a piece of the same stuff, because I don't want to stick it out too far. Just enough to get past this, because then I'll have a gap in here and I don't want that. So this is just to cover the blocks, just to make it look better. So then once I've got this cut right here and mounted, then I can come over here and put a screw to this, into this, and it will pull it back out where it's supposed to be. But because this one is offset, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. If this was flat against that, yes, I could do that, because I put this flat to this. It's a little off in here, but it's flat right here. One of them's even out further, so it's pretty square with this. So if this block wasn't sticking out like that, this would really look good. The next one will, because it's underneath. I think, well, no, it ain't. I got to do the same thing to that one. Well, daggone it. But these will be removable, so I'll make them removable, so I can just take 2 screws out of it, pull this off, pull the panel if I ever need to get underneath here for anything. So a little girl in that car up there saying, "Look at the chicken." Look, having chickens makes children smile. That was pretty cool, wasn't it? she was just hollering all the way up the hill, "Look at the chickens." So I plan to do that to all these, in between each one of them. I'd like to straighten that up, but like I said, I'm not doing work like that for free. That you gotta know what you're doing, and I get paid for what I know what I'm doing. That makes any sense. The only reason I'm doing this is to keep my chickens from creating more problems for the foundation. Because what happens is, and it probably would have to start with what started all this to begin with. I had to put 2 tubes in there. It really ain't big enough. It needs to be a big old freaking bigger tube than that, going across here and coming out over here, to try to divert. And I used that corrugated pipe. It's got the slits in it so it soaks into the ground. And what happens is, we're getting water off of 2 hillsides, and they're funneling right into this. And it comes down off of here, and it hits right here. You can see where it's rotting the wood out on their side of the building. I only operate the board side building. Up there about halfway where my ladder's at. That's my side. This is, they use it for storage. But I'd like to have control of the whole building, to be honest with you. That one's a lot newer inside. It ain't been there very long. That's just an add-on. But that water has to be able to come out from underneath there. So I decided to do it this way. I put it 2 inches off the ground. I mean, some places a little lower because they wallered it out. I got to straighten all that out. But I'll make it all nice and level across there. Basically, when they dig a hole, I have to bury a rock. I just buried one right here, and they're right here, to start making this chicken proof. So this whole side is probably going to end up with rocks buried about an inch below the dirt. So they can't go an inch, and because I want to still be able to mow over it or go get close to the building. So, but it keeps them out of there. And I mean, it's not rodent proof, or maybe even a frickin', I don't know, some of them places, something small could get through there if they had to. But a chicken ain't gonna get through there, I don't believe. I probably should have spun this one to close that gap a little bit. And I think I can. Yeah, you can. There you go. Hey, they're even adjustable, guys. I think I'll split the difference there. Maybe turn that one a little bit. They're a little hard. I don't like turning them because you're just turning against the screws and loosening it up. But I'll have to pay more attention to the orientation next time. But I think it looks pretty cool, guys. So this is basically just my show and tell. I gotta take my saw back in, so let me take my saw while I go in and show you what I'm doing. I'm just measuring from one side down to the 2x4 and do the same thing on that side, and that one just happened to be exactly 18 inches on both of them. So I got lucky on that one. But this one's going to have, it might have a taper to it. I might be able to get away with not getting a taper on that because it looks pretty straight too. It looks like it ought to be pretty square. Both of them actually look like they should be pretty square. That one, however, I had to do different lengths, and that was a bitch. It's harder to keep something like that square. But I'm just going to put the trim in between it and probably do the same thing with the trim from here all the way around to the step or the ramp. And then I can take that lattice and cut it to fit there, screw it right to that 2x6 all the way down. That's all you need. And the same thing on this side. And then this one would be getting a panel also. I think I'll do a panel there instead, but I got this up there right now just to keep them from, just giving them some kind of deterioration. Deter them from wanting to go underneath there. But they can still get underneath there from the other side, and they do. They went in there underneath there when it rained. And I got sidetracked, didn't I? That's what happens when you get old. You know, on the other hand, I'm thinking that wives' tale about the eggs being long and thin, being a rooster. I think my notes are showing that that's correct so far. So that's going to be another video. It's not the best shop in the world and it's cluttered with stuff, but it's a mess now. I got to clean up in here. I've had several projects going on, but this is where I made them. I just cut these limbs. So basically, I just took some of these limbs that were growing straight. I mean, they're straight enough that when you cut them down to 16 inches, because everything I got now is going to be 16 inches or less now. So these ought to last a while. I'm probably going to have to cut some more, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4, about that long. So you don't want to try to put a crooked one in there. I've got a couple in there, but when I seen how hard they were, I said, I'm going to get some straight ones. But because of the way I made that last thing, I had 2x4s on the first one. Now I wish I'd have done the same thing on the other side, or the other one. But I've decided to use them decking boards because I've got 2 truckloads of them. So those I can use them without wondering where in the hell am I going to get more. 2x4s are a little harder to come by. Especially a good one. And this stuff is pretty damn solid steel. It looks rough, but it's solid. Try putting a screw in that. Yeah, it don't go well with that wood. And it's off that deck, so it must have been pretty good wood. It was treated when it was up. But when I cut it and made them like the second one with them decking boards as the top rail and the bottom rail and the sides was 2x4. Got to have something 2x4 in there to kind of strengthen it up a little bit. I ended up with getting some strips that I can actually take and, because I'm going to get a few more of these when I go to make the next panel, because each one of them I get one of these out of it, and I got 1, 2, 3 more coming. So I can take these and put slats on the frickin' ramp so I have some kind of grip to step on when I'm coming up that ramp or going down it. I've been against that, but I built that. That's what he wanted me to build, and so that's what I put there. And that's because he don't have to walk up it when it's wet. But I'm pretty lucky. The sawdust actually coming off my feet going on it is giving me some kind of grip. But if it was raining, it'd probably be a little slickery. But anyway, I hope that this showed you a simple way that don't cost you anything but the screws and your time. So this job would probably cost me about I don't know how much a couple pounds of screws would be. Probably be about $10. $10 for underpinning that nature took care of for you and kindness of other people. So he was going to take it to the dump, and I said, well, I'm just down the road. Bring it down here and dump it in my yard. That's what he did. It was full of nails too, man, right in my driveway. So I was out there 2 or 3 days in a row before I put my truck there, checking it with the magnet and making sure I got everything. I waited for the earth to shake it so I could see if there's any more the next day. Or if something walked through there and kicked one up where I could see it. But anyway, it's very simple, man. It's just 2 pieces of 2x4 on the ends so that you can bolt the top one and the bottom one to it, and then just fill it in. And I've got the holes measured at 3 inches apart. So hope y'all enjoyed that. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. You guys have a good one. Later.